Due to some technical issues we were experiencing during the last demo, I'm recording my part of the demo again. Thank you for your patience and I apologize for the inconvenience. So hello everyone and welcome to the Foreman community demo. I'm Nofar, I'm a Foreman developer and I'll be your host for today's demo. Today we have some updates to share with you, some topics we want to hear your opinions about, and some new things we've been working on. But first, as always, we want this demo to be as interactive as possible, so feel free to write questions and comments to us on IRC at the Foreman, and you can also write here on the YouTube live chat, as both will be monitored. So this is our agenda for today's demo. We're excited to talk about two fantastic events, FOSDEM and Cfgmgmt, and to give you an update on the highly anticipated Foreman 3.6 release. But we're not stopping there. We want to hear from you, so we have two polls to get your feedback. And of course, we've got our talented developers lined up to give you 3 incredible demos. So without further ado, let's get started. Our first announcement for today is about the Foreman 3.6 release. Due to recent changes in the Transfix API, the client in Fedora is no longer functional, which has led to a delay in our release candidate 1. In addition, the Katello team is working to finalize Pulp 3.2.2, so we have decided to postpone the Foreman branching by 1 week. Our new target date is Tuesday, February 21st. Ewout published a post in the community website about it if you want to check that out. For the developers, we encourage you to ensure that your plugins are compatible, as the Foreman development branch has been updated to the Foreman vendor 12, which might break some plugins. So be aware of that, and you can find more information about it in another community post that Ewout posted. I would also like to mention that we will publish a community post once our first release candidate is out, with installation and upgrade instructions as usual, so you can test it and provide real value to the project. Your feedback will help improve the stability of the future release, and we would appreciate your participation and help. As of FOSDEM and Cfgmgmt last week, attending FOSDEM and Cfgmgmt was an incredible experience for us, and we would like to thank everyone who came and talked to us. It was a really amazing opportunity to connect with our users. We got to new users, existing users we already knew before, and also talking to people who haven't heard about Foreman for the first time. It was really great, amazing experience, a learning experience with a lot of insights and understanding of what needs to be done in order to improve our product, community, and workflow. Marek published a very long post that summarized almost everything that happened during these two conferences. So if you want to hear more, go check that out. Okay, we have 2 polls to discuss about today. The first one is the user avatar support poll, and we're interested to hear if you think we should keep it or not. In the post about the poll, we explain what changed and why it is complicated now to support the user avatars. We propose to drop this functionality because it will take a lot of work and resources to maintain it, but we would like to hear what you think of that. Also, if there is anyone willing to work on that, please respond in the post or reach out to us. This poll is open for another 24 days, so please use that time to submit your answer. The second poll, which I'll present this time, is about the menu hiding delay. We got feedback from some of our users that the flyout menu opens quite often by mistake, and then it stays active for about 3 seconds, even after the mouse moves out. The original motivation for that was that the menu does not blink too much. We would like to hear what is your delay preference. This poll is also open for another 24 days, so please submit your response before it closes. Okay, the first demo for today is presented by Ian, and Ian will talk about HTTP proxies and alternate content source.
Alrighty, thanks Nofar. Let me get my screen shared. Okay, so before I talk about alternate content sources, I just wanted to give a quick shout out that Katello 4.7.2 has been released. Chris put a release announcement up there, so let us know if there's anything funky going on with it. I know there were a couple users who were asking for an issue that didn't make 4.7.1 just due to an issue with how the issue was, the bug was triaged. It didn't make it into prior cherry picks, but that's all been fixed up. So yeah, run your updates and let us know. All right, and now on to alternate content sources. So this was a topic that I hadn't been able to demo before. Alternate content sources have been out officially since Katello 4.7. But I wanted to show how HTTP proxies work with alternate content sources. So when you create an alternate content source, I'll just run through the menu here. I'll use a simplified just to make it easier. When you get to the Smart Proxy selection screen, you'll see an option down here that says Use HTTP proxies. And if you check this, every alternate content source every alternate content source in Pulp that's attached to this Katello alternate content source will use HTTP proxies if they are available to them. And what do I mean by that? So each smart proxy now has a selection, if you go to its edit screen, to edit the alternate content source HTTP proxy. So let me load up one of mine and I'll show you what I mean. So it'll be right on the first page on edit. You see here we have a little description just to explain. And you can select an HTTP proxy that you have defined. Now, the first iteration of this, we made it so you could select an HTTP proxy per alternate content source. But we realized that didn't necessarily make sense because HTTP proxies are, an admin likely won't use the same HTTP proxy for each different smart proxy because a smart proxies are likely to be geographically separated, very far away. It wouldn't make sense for an a smart proxy on one side of the world to use an HTTP proxy on the other side necessarily. So now you can just cluster your alternate content sources by HTTP proxies that are kind of located per smart proxy. So the only thing you need to do is you just need to come here, set your ACS HTTP proxy, and then on the ACS, turn on the HTTP proxy switch. And if there is an HTTP proxy on that smart proxy, then the traffic will go through it when you do a refresh and when any RPMs are downloaded from the alternate content source. And I suppose I can show really quickly just what this will look like. Let me redo the presenting really quick so I can show my full screen. I just wanted to show a terminal. So what I'm going to show is on my Squid, I have a Squid proxy set up, And I can just show what it'll look like when you refresh. You'll see the traffic that actually gets across. So I'll just tail the squid logs, and then I'll run a refresh on one of the ACSs that I have. So this is just the squid access log. I have some old logs in here from the last time I did this. But let's see, I believe this alternate content source is the one I want. Use HTTP proxies is true. So I will refresh it. And eventually, the logs, there you go. So I only have one repository that I'm actually refreshing from. It's at this fixtures.pulpproject.org website. And so you can see this is coming through. And if you ever need to debug your ACS to try to figure out where your traffic is going, you can always set up a proxy like this. It makes it very easy to debug. And that is all from me. Let me know, as always, if you have any questions about alternate content sources. Thanks.
Thanks, Rob. In seconds to see if anyone has questions. And meanwhile, I can say that actually, I saw that not all of our users were aware of the alternate content source and what it can do for you. So correct me if I'm wrong, but alternate content source, so if you don't have a good connection between your Foreman server and smart proxies, and you can use alternate content source to retrieve the contents you needed from that source. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So that's one of the biggest use cases. If your connection between the proxy and the Foreman is slow, you can set up an ACS to have it download from whatever mirror is closer. So you can speed up your smart proxy syncs.
Okay, that's great. So thank you for Mark for explaining that. Let's check. I don't see any questions. So I'll pass move on to the next topic. Okay, so my sharing is sorry.
Hey.
Yeah. Right, so we have reached our last demo for today, which is presented by Partha. And Partha is going to tell us about the incremental syncable exports. Okay, so Partha, please introduce yourself and give us a background.
Okay, can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. Let me share my screen. Just let me know if my font size is off. Just 1 second. Are you able to see my browser clearly?
Yep.
Okay. And are you able to see the terminal also clearly, or should I increase the font size?
I'd bump it up a couple.
Better?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, cool. So today I'm going to talk about a new feature we added like last week, or this week, earlier this week, in fact, called Syncable Incremental Exports. That's like a mouthful, but yeah. So let me show how this works. All right. So here I have a content view called rels. Okay. And I have set up like filters and stuff. So version 2.0 of this content view, right, has like the 3 packages, 3 RPMs, because that's what my filter did, right? And version 3.0 of it has 6 RPMs. So I've created two separate versions like that. Here's the general idea. I am, as a user, I want to be able to first export rel 7 or rel 8, whatever rel I have, or whatever repo I have. That's better usage for that. So I would like to export whatever repo I have, and then let's say 10 days later you resynced and 5 things got added. When you want to re-export again, previously for the syncable format, the so-called syncable format, what would happen was you would not be able to do an incremental change. So let's say you you did a complete export of a repository, and you got like you did rel 7, for example. That's about 50 gigabytes worth of data there that got exported, right? Now, I don't know, a couple of weeks later, you're syncing again, and now there are like 20 other RPMs that got added. When you do a regular export, complete export again, you're still going to get 50 gigabytes, but a lot of people. But what this allows you to do is this gives only the incremental portion that we added. Now lets you be very specific. So what it'll do is it'll give you only the 20 RPMs that changed between the versions. So you have a much smaller export that you can import into your downstream performance server or satellite. So I'm just going to demo that. I can demo this multiple ways. I'll first start the simpler version. So let's say I go to products, right? And I have a repo called media. Yeah. Sorry, I ran out of names. So so here's a repository. Okay, I'm going to first just do a simple syncable export of this. So I can say hammer content export. Another important thing I wanted to show here, there's a new setting now. So if I go to admin settings, you'll go here. You under content. That's right. So let's see if there's a new field called default export format. So you can set it to syncable. So what'll happen is if you do a -- format, you don't need to do a -- format. You can say I want it to be always syncable because that's what I'm going to be using, or it could be the regular default format, which is the importable format. So you can set that in the settings to make that very clear. And I just wanted to highlight the setting. All right, let's get back to what we're trying to do. We're trying to export this repository. So I will say hammer content export complete repository. Again, this is the first time, right? So I'll say this is the repository ID again. Oh, it's one. Wow, okay. The very first one. All right. So as it runs, it's what it's trying to do is it'll give us a directory where it's exported the 32 RPMs that are listed here in a YUM format. So if I do a ls here, like, let me find. Let's see. Okay, if I do a find, you'll see like a lot of like pretty much everything there, like the bunch of RPMs. You have the repo data, so it's kind of probably too big here, but here. Reset. Okay. Yeah, if you think about it. So if I did find, and so you should be able to see the packages here. So let me just add. So the idea is the user, or this is done on the satellite that's connected to the CDN, or satellite or Foreman server that's connected to CDN, or wherever the source of that custom of that repo is you export the content of the repo, then you take that exported content to another satellite to import. Basically, it's just an export and import. So what I wanted to show, so if I did PWD, so we just saw that this contains the export. So you can actually do a hammer, like if you have a new satellite, or in my case, if I want to just import into a new org or something like that. Let me see if I have an org that I can play with here. May make it easier for you. So I have a, okay, I need to create, okay. So I don't have an org now. So let me create one. So so the idea is you're going to copy this elsewhere and then import it, right? So if you did, I just created an org. So if you did hammer content import, right? And you'll give it, what is this, repository. You say the path. Here's the path. You give it, yeah, that'll be the path. And we have to give it the organization name. So organization equals open. So this command, the hammer content import, does it'll try to create the same repository there, and just do a regular sync. So if you went, let me reload this page. Where am I? Okay, I see open, right? So if I actually went to products, oh sorry, yeah, products. See, all the 32 packages are imported into this new org, right? Now, so the feature we added was called incremental export on this. So let me go back to my default org, okay, and go back to this repository. Yeah. If I did medium, interesting. Let me just add like I'm going to add some RPM here. Let's see if I have one I can test with. Yeah, let me see. Okay, let me update that, upload that. Once it's uploaded, I can check to see if it has 33 now. Okay, that's awesome. That it automatically updated that 33. Okay, so I just added 1 RPM. So if I now let's see, let's look at my export command again. So this was my previous export command, which said do a complete export of ID1, like just include everything I need in this export. What we now have added is a new option called incremental. This was there for the default, the importable format, but it's now also there for the syncable format. So if I did hammer content export incremental repository ID equals 1, what it'll say is what it'll do is it'll guess the it'll figure out what was the last time you exported something, and then only give the deltas after that. So if I did this, hammer content export incremental equals 1, incremental ID equals 1. So it ran the export, right? Now, if let me just CD into that because it's too unwieldy otherwise. Okay. Yeah. So if I did fine, see it only has the delta. It has only the new RPM. And but it has all the metadata. So because it has all this metadata, you can actually also do an import of this. And the code will magically say, oh, okay, I'm syncing. I'll just pick the extra RPM from here and sync that into my import satellite. So if I did the same command, if I said, where's my content import command? Yeah. So if I instead gave it, okay, 1 second. Didn't like my, okay. So I think if I did, again, that didn't help. What directory I'm in? Well, just $p.pd. Okay. So if I did this, okay. So I gave it the correct data. If I messed up, I'll check. But I think I did okay. So it looks like it is actually syncing and importing and everything. So if I actually go here, like if I let me do products again, if I go to my other org the org I imported into, if I click on that, you see there's 33 packages, and you should be able to see the Red Hat, whatever. Let me see. Here you go. It's this one. So anyway, so it has it. So it got the new RPMs added to it. You can do the same for content view versions and any of the versions, library or org. You can do incremental on all of them. Think it makes the footprint of what you're transferring between an air gap network much smaller. And so it's a useful feature. This was something we used to have in Pulp2, but we added it for the basic format, but a lot of users also wanted it for the syncable format. So we have now added that also. And that's pretty much all I had. The only thing I would also add is Syncable is good for Yum and Kickstarter repos only. It's not good for it doesn't work for Ansible or Docker. So those will get ignored if you have a content view and that has Docker and Ansible repos and you want to export it, you can't be using Syncable format. So it'll just get ignored. So that's one big differentiation. So if you had the content views had Docker and Ansible content and you wanted Yum, use the default importable format. If not, if you are just okay with Yum repos and you just want a clear picture to see where the RPMs are and all that, feel free to use the Syncable. So that's pretty much all I have. I'm having trouble hearing you. Yeah.
Yeah. Some more time on the next demos. So my apologies.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, we don't have any questions. So answer like so you mentioned the topic and discussed about.
Yeah, I share my screen. This is just a screen sharing of a Discourse topic. Shimon is resurrecting the client-side infrastructure upgrade, and he wants feedback and help. So the help part is for plugin owners to try to move away from JavaScript snapshot testing and move to React testing library. And also, when the updates will happen, some packages will break, and we will try to fix them in the plugins that we know about, but we can't catch it all. And we will need, like, plugins will break once the update will happen, because some JavaScript packages depends on Webpack or on React for a certain version, and we will upgrade that. And also, if anyone knows about any issues that we might face in this upgrade, please let us know in this topic. It's also linked from the demo event post. And yeah, so if you know of any issues and any solutions, we will love to hear it. Yeah, thank you.
That concludes our demo for today. We hope you enjoyed our presentations and seeing what's new with Foreman. We appreciate your feedback and participation, and we're always looking for ways to improve the demo experience. If you have any further questions or feedback, please don't hesitate to reach out to us on IRC, at the forum, or on our community website. Thank you for joining, and we look forward to seeing you next time.